Well, it's always our pleasure to have you join us on platform. I'm Ruth Aguela. Export trade is generally considered as a viable tool for sustainable economic growth. Now, it normally facilitates improved foreign exchange earnings. It encourages the development of export-oriented industries in the manufacturing sector, creates job opportunities, and increases government revenue through taxes. In the past, if you recall, Nigeria used to be the largest exporter from non-oil exports like cocoa, cotton, groundnut, palm oil, etc. during the pre- and post-independence era. Now, despite efforts to revive those good old days, Nigeria is yet to fully harness the potential of the non-oil sector, which experts say requires more commitment and enhanced coordination of the sector. The Nigerian Export Promotion Council was established primarily to promote the development and diversification of Nigeria's export trade. NEPC statutorily is mandated to work towards achieving its mandate of coordinating and harmonizing export development and promotion activities in the country by taking the lead in all national export programs. Efforts, no doubt, has been made by the federal government towards the diversification of revenue sources of the economy to secure and protect the economy from the impact of exhaustion of oil in order to guarantee steady government revenue. Exporting can be very rewarding in diverse ways, but has Nigeria been able to sustain the growth in the non-oil exports, tackle challenges, and open new frontiers for economic viability? What will be the projections for Nigeria's non-oil exports? Our focus and platform is Upscaling Nigeria's non-oil exports, and our guest is Dr. Ezra Yakusak, Executive Director and CEO, Nigeria Export Promotion Council. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Yakusak.
Thank you for having me on the platform.
It's good to have you.
Yeah.
All right, let's take you through a bit of his profile before we introduce our panelists. Dr. Ezra Yakusak is a commercial lawyer. He holds a bachelor's degree and master's in law, as well as Doctor of Philosophy in Commercial Law from the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. His career began with his engagement as a youth corps member at the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, where he was retained and reached the top of his career. He has served in different capacities at the top before becoming the Executive Director and CEO of the NEPC. He is also the President, ECOWAS Trade Promotion Organizations Network. And it's our pleasure to have you on platform once again.
Thank you.
Okay, our panelist is our business correspondent, Comfort Amadu. Comfort, thank you for joining us on platform. This is your first time on platform. I'm glad to have you.
I'm glad to be here, Ruthila.
All right.
I call you
That's
always.
what she calls me, Ruthila. Okay, so let's talk about the export business, Dr. Yakusak. Nigeria, no doubt, is doing so well when it comes to export, but you will be the one to tell us the strides recorded so far. I remember last year the NBS came out with the statistics that our GDP grew by 95.66%, if I'm correct, especially from the non-oil sector. And your mission is to spearhead the diversification of the Nigerian economy by expanding the non-oil sector. So tell us, how far so far, if we want to look at that direction?
Well, the journey has been tough, but it's quite rewarding.
I like the fact you admitted it's been tough.
Well, that's the truth about it. That's the truth. It's quite challenging, but it has been quite rewarding so far. Well, I need to tell you, in terms of performance, last year we did marvelously well. For the first time in 47 years of the establishment of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, we broke a kind of record, and we had 4.8 billion US dollars as non-oil export performance for year 2022. And that is massive. I mean, that's very massive. We've never had it like that. And it was quite interesting because about 214 products were exported. 214 products out of Nigeria were exported to 122 countries all over the world. What that means is that we're diversifying, and our products are being accepted because you export, a country exporting 214 products to about 122 countries. I know that is very great, and that is quite encouraging. But the most interesting thing, again, is that a lot of people are going into export. We had 1,175 companies that actually exported within the year under review, i.e. 2022. And that's also massive for us. But one of the key things in terms of that export performance for 2022, one of the main things that gladdens our hearts is the fact that prior to this time, in terms of performance, mostly we realized that Nigerians export more of raw commodity, which we don't encourage. We have to add value on our products. We need to manufacture our product or semi-manufactured and add value, because we know the importance of adding value.
When you say add value, like being processed? So
Okay. When you add value, it simply means you are not exporting raw in its raw form. You have to add value by processing it, manufacturing, or doing something that, that is taught its original state, or state rather. So, having said that, the last year export performance report, we had about 30% was 30% of the products were raw commodities, while about 39% was products that were exported based on value addition. That is very good for us, because last year the trajectory was changed in favor of manufactured or semi-manufactured products, which is very good for us. And this is what we've been preaching in Nigeria Export Promotion Council. That is, please, yes, we encourage export. Yes, we promote export. Yes, we are persuading people to export. But what we are saying is that don't export our jobs. Add value to our products. Because let me tell you something. You can export a raw product, and maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people can do it. But once you are adding value, machinery may be involved, machines may be involved, and so that means you have to employ more people, and you have to, so many other things in the value chain are involved. So you need more hands. What that means is that you have to create employment, and our industries have been expanded because you are adding value. So, but once you don't add value, we're actually exporting our jobs. So we discourage export in as much as we encourage or promote export, but we discourage as much as possible export of raw commodities as against
just before Comfort's coming to a follow-up question to that, based on what you're saying, urea, that's fertilizer, topped the list for the $4.8 billion recorded in the non-oil sector.
Yeah, well, fertilizer topped the list. Fertilizer is more or less a processed product. It's not raw. Yes, it's processed. It's not raw at all. But fertilizer actually topped the list because we key in as a nation. The Russia-Ukraine war came to play, and so we just key in as a nation, because prior to this time, urea fertilizer, was mostly exported by Russia, the Russia-Ukraine axis. And so because of the war, the impact of the war, that item couldn't, or that product was not exported. So we took advantage. We leveraged on that advantage, and we went all out. And of course,
it paid off.
It paid off. The best, and that was about 39%, by the way. I think that 9% of all the products exported was urea fertilizer in terms of volume and value. So that is very key for us.
Comfort, go ahead.
Yeah, like you said, a whole lot is going on, so much that we're seeing lots of results in the export system. I would ask, what changed? What did you do differently to now capture so much market for Nigeria, thereby reducing the import bill, and we're having more of Nigerian produce now exported to other countries?
Okay, what actually changes? In 2021, the federal government released a grant to the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. That grant was to cushion the effect of COVID-19, and it was also intended to save various jobs that were lost due to COVID-19, of course. And so we pushed that grant and gave that grant to various exporters and SMEs. And of course, the outcome of that grant, brought to what we have there now. But apart from that, last year we launched what we call an Export for Survival campaign. And what that campaign, the essence of that campaign is to persuade Nigerians to go into export business. Because what we're doing here is from a patriotic point of view, that yes, you can do your business, but let's save our nation, let's save the naira, let's save our naira by exporting. because if you export, you get foreign exchange.
True.
And so you cannot allow the naira to go down the drain on a daily basis. So let's do something to save the naira, because we feel export or no export is the only avenue, the only factor we can control. The other source of foreign exchange is diaspora remittances. You don't have much control of that. Another source of foreign exchange is what we call the FDI, that is foreign direct investment. You don't have much control about that. But the one you have control is non-oil export. So if you have control on non-oil export, and we have the products, and our products are good, and our products are well sought after. So what are we waiting for? Why can't we venture into the export market and get the foreign exchange and stabilize naira, and of course generate employment?
Okay, and I know that part of the strategy to diversify the productive base of the economy away from the oil sector, part of ways of projecting market-oriented values has to do with, collaborations with private sector, which I have watched closely the NEPC has been able to achieve. So tell us how you were able to sustain that.
Okay, now we've been collaborating with the private sectors and even donor agencies. Right now, we have a collaboration with the CBI. We also have a collaboration with the ITC.
Sorry, what's CBI?
CBI, Center for it's a German donor agency that promote or encourage or promote trade, and ITC, International Trade Center. We had this collaboration where we intend to develop or ensure premium pricing of our ginger product, because ginger is very key. Our ginger is...
We're going to talk more about that ginger, because that ginger was very strategic in this
Yes.
export trade house in China. We'll get there, but go ahead.
Okay, well, we have that collaboration. I also have collaboration. By the way, all the export trade houses, NEPC facilitate, NEPC initiate, whether it's under a PPP arrangement, public-private partnership arrangement, where we identify capable private sector concerns who go out to set up this export trade house. So have several collaborations with it. We can't do it alone, by the way. You can't do this business alone. You depend solely on private sector or collaboration with private sector individuals. By the way, we promote, we don't export. That's very key for us. We promote, we don't export. We promote and encourage private sector concerns to export, and that's what we do. And so we cannot do anything without private sector collaboration.
So you work closely with a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yes, please.
So someone watching right now and is thinking, okay, I have my produce, I want to export, I need to go through certain standards and regulations. What are the criteria in meeting standards?
Okay, now it depends on the product you are going to export.
Okay.
There's no hard and fast rule that if you are exporting this product, you must go through all these other standards or criteria. It all depends on the specific product you are going to export. But, I mean, if you want to export, the first thing to do is to register a limited liability company or a cooperative society. By the way, an individual is not allowed under the law to export. You cannot export as an individual. You have to be a limited liability company and not a business name. You have to be a limited liability company or a cooperative society. That is what is allowed. Once you do that, you now assume a legal identity or a legal entity, and you now go to Nigerian Export Promotion Council. By the way, you don't need to go to Nigerian Export Promotion Council. You go to their website, www.nepc.gov.ng, and you register there. Within 24 hours, your certificate will be issued to you. You don't need to come to the office to collect your certificate. Under the comfort of your bedroom or your parlor, they will email you a certificate, and you get a certificate, and you are ready to export. Now, it depends on what product, like I said earlier on, it depends on what product you are going to export. It depends on the product. The product now determines the kind of certification you will get. Okay. So it depends on the product, but these are advisory services that we offer, and of course everything we do is free of charge. It's a government organization. So these are some of the advisory services we offer, and direct or guide people on what to do.
Comfort.
Well, as a business correspondent, I've had the rare privilege to see the Nigerian Export Promotion Council establish trade houses in Cairo, Kenya, Togo, and now in China. Let me take you up on this. What factors do you actually look at or consider to establish these trade houses?
Okay, thank you very much. You see, the trade houses, we have some variables, we have some factors or criteria that we look at. And of course, for the African countries, we actually want to leverage on the African Continental Free Trade Area.
Okay.
That is one thing for the African country. Because, see, we have to go ahead of the game. Because if we are working on, we are talking about AFTA, and people are talking about AFTA, and our government they've signed or ratified AFTA, there is need for us to go ahead and what we can call wet the ground for our products to access those African countries. So for the African countries, that is one of the criteria or one of the factors that led us to set up those trade houses, I mean, within the African country. For Egypt, Egypt is not Northern Africa.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to use Egypt as a launching pad to target all the other those northern areas, the Maghreb Union areas. So that is it. And of course, Togo is very key. Lomé is very key. West Africa, very, very key for West Africa. It's a trade hub. Yeah. If you get Togo, you get other countries.
Like
I mean, yes, and Burkina Faso. And now for Kenya, Kenya also has a seaport, a massive seaport. Most of the countries around Kenya are landlocked, and so they rely on Kenya's seaport to the Mombasa port. By the way, Mombasa port, they rely on the Mombasa port for their exports and imports. So that's why we pick Kenya. But for China,
and why in Hunan?
Yeah, for China, if you look at the trade relations between Nigeria and China, it has always been trade deficit. I mean, Nigeria has always experienced, trade deficit in favor of China.
We have more of China things coming into Nigeria.
What that means is that we have more of China goods, we have more China imports than Nigerian exports.
Yes.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
More of China imports than Nigerian exports. And of course, we also realize that the Chinese will buy anything from Nigeria.
Why?
That's what they want. That's their culture. The Chinese will buy literally anything.
Because they have the required technology.
Apart from technology, the population is about 1.4 billion people in China. We have about 220 million people in Nigeria. The population in China is about 1.4 billion. The last time I remember was 1.2. They're around 1.4 now, they're about billion. So you can imagine it's a massive population that needs to be fed. And so most of our products are required in China. So, but we wanted to see how we can bridge that trade deficit, really. I mean, these goods are coming in on a daily basis. These goods are coming in. And so we needed to bridge that gap. And so that's why we pick on China. You asked of why Hunan. Hunan is one of the major cities in China that deals with African products. African products, yes. By the way, if you go to Hunan now, there's a whole exhibition hall. And I mean, it is already tagged with each African country and their products being displayed. They're not displayed by those African countries. They're displayed by the Chinese authority. Because if you want anything African, go to Hunan, the Hunan province. Everything African is there. And so these are some of the rationale behind picking China.
Maybe before you ask, seeing what Nigeria did in Hunan, the Chinese government is also wanting to reciprocate what Nigeria has done in China by coming to establish overseas warehouses in Nigeria. What does that mean for us as a country? Is that a good thing? And how do you intend to manage it to ensure that we actually reap the fruit of such initiative?
Especially when we're looking at reducing imports.
That's not news to us because they're already here.
Oh, yes.
You actually mentioned that. They said they wanted state-owned warehouses, not the ones we have here.
No, that will be subject to approval by government. We'll look at it and look at the implication, because if you are trading, there are some things you don't give your rights and privileges just because of trade. I mean, and trade, by the way, it's all about negotiation. If they want a state-controlled warehouse, we can look at it, and the government will look at it and decide that. But in terms of replicating what we did in China, they're already here. We have Chinatown in Lagos. We have China, where we have China warehouses in Lagos everywhere. So it's not news. They're here already.
The ETH, talking about the export trade house in China, made to understand it will help sustainable trade inflows. You understand? Yes. And if we want to look at ways of ensuring that these trade inflows are being sustained, subsequently, there are ways we can actually, enhance our produce in terms of meeting requirements, these entrepreneurs and all of that. What are the basic requirements, because sustainability is key. It's one thing to have this house there in China, situated there. What are the strategies or modalities, should I say, have been put in place to ensure that that trade house is sustained and Nigerians are reaping the fruits of their labor?
Okay. By the way the trade house, the best way to sustain that trade house is for us to upscale our production. That is very key. We have to upscale the production of our various exportable products. That is key. That is very key. And of course, we need to improve our standards. Not only China, all over the world. And by the way, Nigeria Export Promotion Council has a program called Go Global, Go Certification. Under that program, we appreciate or identify we appreciate the fact that some of our SMEs, they don't have capacity to obtain some particular or specific requirement as to certification. So what we do is we identify various certifying body.
Okay.
Yeah, we identify various certifying body, pay off the cost of that certification, and they will go to the various manufacturing or processing centers of our SMEs and, of course, certify them. Some of those certifications are certifications like the Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point, they call it HACCP, and FDA, and that's, if you want to export to USA, and various other certifications program. So that's what the NDPC has been able to do to ensure that our goods or our products at least attain a particular standard. So back to what you asked. The only way, or one of the ways we can sustain this export trade house, is for us to ensure Nigerians to key into the program. We have to key in and continue massive export into China or any other place we have the export trade house. Once we have a massive export export of our products into those trade houses, everything will change. We'll see how, the whole things will change in our favor.
And also the Export Development Fund scheme set up, to assist companies who are willing to export and cover some of their plans. That was also set up by the council. Tell us about it. How beneficial is that for the entrepreneurs? Okay,
by the way, the Export Development Fund is a function or a creation of an act, the Export Incentive and Miscellaneous Provision Act. That act was established in 1986. But you won't believe it that since the creation of that act, the Export Development Fund never took off for several reasons, but the main reason was lack of finance or lack of funds. But like I told you earlier, the government gave us a grant in 2021, and because of that grant, or due to that grant, we were able to set up what we call the Export Development Fund. And I can tell you that about almost 1,200 SMEs were beneficiaries of the Export Development Fund, and they were given grants in various sums and various categories based on their feasibility studies and their proposal, and based on what they want to execute. And things like if you want to conduct a research on export activities, if you want to process a product for the purposes of export, if you have a good idea on what to do to export, we'll give you that grant. These are some of the criteria used in giving that grant. So we gave that grant in 2021, and of course, if we have more funds, we'll open up the platform and also invite people to access that grant.
You talked about the produce. It's not every produce that are meant for export, so to say. What kind of produce are we talking about? I know you mentioned ginger earlier, and ginger, I hear, was one of the strategic export products that was presented there at the China house there. So tell us about the benefits and all of that, and some of the produce you're talking about.
Well, you see, every produce in Nigeria can be exported. Every product can be exported. However, there are a few products that are, that are banned, or they are under what we call the export prohibition list. Those products are under the export prohibition list. But apart from that, most of the products can be exported. We have what we call a new product called Casatora. Orange peel now can be exported. We export onions now. We export, of course, cassava chips. We export soybeans. Of course, urea is there. It's probably called aluminium ingots, and so many other products. Like I said earlier on, Nigeria exported 214 products in 2022, a total number of 214 products. And so, if you hear me right, what that means is that we have many other products that can be exported from Nigeria. And one good thing about the products being exported is that on a daily basis, Nigerians or our exporters are improving. There's a lot of improvement in their product, the way they process their product and the packaging. There's a lot of improvement. Prior to this time, one of the issues they had was packaging. But with various sensitization programs by Nigeria Export Promotion Council, various enlightenment programs, the packaging is very good now. I mean, if you see some of the packaging of some of the Nigerian products, if you see the packaging, you'll be surprised that these products are actually coming from Nigeria, because packaging is very key. No matter what it is, if you don't package your product well, you will not sell.
Indeed, you're right.
Because see, for some consumers, for some buyers, you buy a product off the shelf, you may not even know the contents of that product. You are attracted by the packaging.
Yes,
so
until you open up.
Until you open up. It may just be a wrong product. It may just be a product that...
Or should it be like that?
No, but that's how it is, because you have to be well packaged. If you are not well packaged, nobody looks at you. The way you dress is the way you are going to be addressed. Yeah. It's a basic fact. Everything has to be well packaged. Your car, even the way you dress, you have to be well packaged, because you are coming before. You are on the platform. You have to be well packaged.
And I know Comfort has met a lot of entrepreneurs. Whole packaging is one of their selling points.
It's amazing. It's different. Just like he said, you will see Nigerian products packaged and properly arranged that you would not believe.
It's a Nigerian product.
It's a Nigerian product, because when we were in Kenya, remember when they came and BIMCAF was taking them through some of the packages, and they were shocked. Like, you mean this is from Nigeria? And people are now looking forward to having more of Nigerian products now. So I think that's where I would love to ask, is there anything that the NEPC is doing to actually support this rebranding of our packages to make sure that it meets standards and specification? That's in terms of product rejects. Yeah, okay.
Now, you see, during the International Women's Day celebration, we celebrated women also. That was the first one we did in March this year. International Women's Day celebration, we celebrated women. And we deliberately invited women to bring in their products, SMEs, to bring in their products. That was very deliberate. And by the time they display their products within the premises of Nigeria Export Promotion Council, we personally inspected these products. But one of the key things we discovered was that the packaging was poor. Yes, the products good,
but packaging not attractive.
But packaging was just a put-off. So there and then, we invited those women, pick a list, and we said we are going to train them. We're going to bring packaging experts to train them on how to package free of charge. And of course, we're going to connect them with various packaging companies in Nigeria that will assist them after the training to package their product. By the way, the training is coming about 2 or 3 weeks' time now. It's coming up. So these are some of the efforts we are doing, because we are doing everything to ensure that our products are acceptable in the international market. Our products get accessibility or are marketable in the international market space.
And it's quite commendable what you set up for the women to celebrate the International Women's Day, breaking barriers and creating export opportunities. You're going to tell us more how the council has been able to support women in that aspect, because most entrepreneurs you see are not giving the credit to the women alone, but majority are mostly women. You have, in terms of micro, small, and medium enterprises, they're mostly women. You agree with me?
That's true.
Okay, so we're going to delve into that. Let's go on a break. We're back. This is Platform. Stay tuned.
Sees that the Buhari-led administration has made remarkable progress,
like Lafia Transmission Station nearing completion.
Africa does not need charity, but partnerships that will promote the adequate investment
with the cooperation of all.
Sharing firsthand the experiences of reporters on the field as they bring to you weekly the beauty of Nigeria's diverse culture and the economic potentials therein. The Correspondents, Development through the eye of the grassroots, showing every Monday at 1:30 p.m. on the network service of the NTA, with a repeat broadcast on NTA News 24 and NTA International. Join us.
Allow these children to grow.
Yes.
Many of them, you have somebody 14, 15 going to the university. Where are you going?
Information technology is the future.
Hello, a warm welcome to you. This is Platform. I'm Ruth Aguela.
You don't create that awareness and you don't bring the young minds to identify that there are benefits in astronomy.
We have had experiences through various leadership strata, bringing us to where we can...
Platform engages guests on topical issues for national interest.
We have cases like that. We want to protect children and also make parents realize that they have a primary responsibility.
Join us every Thursday at 2 p.m. on the network service of the NTA.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. We're still discussing upscaling Nigerians' non-oil exports. Our guest, Dr. Ezra Yakusak, Executive Director of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. Now, before we took that break, I wanted you to speak on women's participation in export because most of the micro, small, medium enterprises are owned by women, and they run it. It's not to say the men are not also involved, but women's participation is very critical. And they said when you empower women, you've empowered a lot of generations to come. So tell us.
Well, that's true. If you empower the woman, you empower the nation.
Yes.
That's really true.
That's true. Yes.
So the first thing we did in Nigeria's Promotion Council, because we realized the fact that, like you said, most of the SMEs are owned by women. And women are very critical in the export value chain.
Yes.
And to a large extent, they are more committed in business. I must say that.
We are good managers.
Yes.
They are more committed.
During the certification exercise, it was surprising, just one meal.
That's exactly what I want to say. Now you see, she has taken that from me.
Okay, now, so Comfort, allow him to do it.
Okay, now, you see, so the first thing we did was to create what we call a women in export program. I mean, women in export division. We have a women in export division in Nigeria's Promotion Council, just dedicated for women and I mean, taking care or catering for women needs in terms of non-oil export. But specifically, like you just said, we had this certification program that, like I said, I explained earlier on, people bringing their product to certify them. Most of them were women. Majority of them were women. About 85% of people that benefited from that certification program, they were women. Yes, they were women. And of course, last year, we organized an export week, and part of the activities of that export week was an export award night. We awarded our exporters, outstanding exporters. We are one of those people. We identified women that are also outstanding, and we gave them awards.
So I want to be clear on that.
Yes,
are you saying the council is throwing its weight now to support women who are entrepreneurs in terms of certification, branding, and ensuring they have the requisite skills for exporting their produce?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what we're doing. But though we're not discriminatory, it's not discriminatory. Anybody, as long as you are an exporter, you want to export, we assist you. But we also encourage women. We encourage women to come on board because, like we said, we know the importance of women in the society. And for God's sake, if you see a woman struggling to, to export or into business, naturally, it's naturally you want to help out and encourage such people. And I think one of the almost youngest exporters we have is a lady. One of the youngest entrepreneur we have on our database is a young lady, a very young lady, a young lady exporter. So that is what we are doing. And I also mentioned the fact that for the first time, we celebrated the International Women's Day. And we commended them and celebrated them. The essence is to encourage them to export, to bring them to the non-oil export net. That is some of the things we are doing for women.
Okay, Comfort.
Talking about increasing the export nets, how much are we looking at in terms of foreign inflow to our country?
No, foreign inflow, I would say that, bearing in mind the fact that we had about 4.8 billion US dollars, right, last year for 2022. This year we're expecting, we're projecting that would slightly increase. That will increase, and there are so many factors, but I know it will increase because right now, from the inflow or data being obtained from the various pre-shipment inspection agents right now, the first quarter, 2023 first quarter, it's already it's higher than the first quarter of 2022. These are the data, but we're still compiling the data. Okay. These are the data we are receiving from our various pre-shipment inspection agents. So if that continues like that, what that means is that at the end of 2023, we should hit over a little bit over $5 billion US dollars.
Will the matchmaking that actually took place in China that we witnessed with the Nigerian private sector and that of China help this projection?
Of course.
In terms of agro products?
Of course, it will help because, of course, while in China, that matchmaking led to the signing of an MOU for the supply of a total about 130,000 metric tons of various goods. I remember ginger was about 40,000, cassava chips about 30,000, and we had cashew and other products, a total number of 130,000 metric tons to be supplied within a year. So
that's huge.
Within a year, and so that's massive.
Yeah.
If that, and that's why I'm making the kind of, my projections may be ambitious, but that's why I'm making such projection. So with that development, you will agree with me that we may be more than 5 billion.
I want you to speak more on that ginger. If it had about 40% from what you said, right?
Yes.
Of the export, what should farmers, who grow ginger should be looking at? Because in the end, these farmers should reap the benefits of what's, it's been churned out.
That's very true. And that's why earlier on I said there's need for us to upscale production of our products. I mentioned that earlier, right?
Yes.
There's need for us to upscale the production of our products. But most importantly is the need to imbibe what we call the good agricultural practices. Because the problem with our products is that the products are good. By the way, our ginger is one of the best in the world, if not the best.
Yes.
And I also need to tell you that part of China grow ginger. India grow ginger. Why are they particular about Nigerian ginger? There must be something. If they grow ginger and they are particular about Nigerian ginger, meaning there is something. The potency of Nigerian ginger is the highest all over the world. It's the highest all over the world. So that's why our ginger is being sought after the way it is. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to improve the way we farm this ginger, i.e., it has to be organic product, less fertilizer, and even the way we process it in terms of drying, it may lead to contamination because some people dry this ginger and just dry it on the floor.
I know you don't work alone, talking about the council.
Yeah.
So are you, sending this message to your partners, in terms of synergy with other bodies like the Ministry of Agri and all of that, to ensure that these standards are sustained?
We work with the quarantine service. Nigerian quarantine service is our partner. The DG is quite my friend, and we are partners, and we work along with them. And of course, we work with other government agencies like Ministry of Agri. But we also, on our own, embark on sensitization programs, not only ginger, of all other products. Okay. And like I said, we teach them or train them on what we call good agricultural practices, what they need to do, even from the point of farming, sowing, reaping, and everything. So we try to train them because if you don't get it right, the product may be rejected. They may be subject to contamination or subject to pesticides. So even the storage facility is very key.
Yeah.
Even the kind of bags you use in storage, in storing the product is very key. So these are some of the things that affects our products internationally.
Even traceability.
Yeah, the issue of traceability is there. You have to trace to know where exactly this product is coming from. So that is key. These are some of the things that affect, make or mar our products generally. And these are the things we are trying to cope. And we can only do this by sensitization. Massive sensitization of our farmers and export merchants.
I know that recently the NEPC started mobilizing the certification of organic cashew
Yes.
How is that journey coming along?
The journey, so far so good. Because just like I said, what I said was that the brain of our product is some of these things are, some of them are not organic, and the world is going organic. Almost everything now, they want organic product. And so we have to key into whatever the market demands. Because in export, just like every other market, what the demands determine the supply. So whatever the market demands is what we are doing. And so we've realized that all over the world, what they want now is organic cashew. So we brought up other partners and we are working with them to ensure that we get this organic cashew thing right. And we're doing this, and we're going to provide seedlings for, improved seedlings, hybrid seedlings to farmers. By the way, next week we intend to, there's a massive cashew farm in Ogbomosho. Next week we're visiting Ogbomosho to see what we can do to help in that regard.
Because I was just going to ask you in terms of sensitization, because in this part of the world, people still have a bit of reservation to organic produce, crops, so to say. And Nigeria, we'll give the credit to Nigeria. We're the 4th largest producer of raw cashew. These farmers, I'm asking now, are these farmers willing to embrace this new technology, talking about the organic?
Anything that is new, anything that is changed, is not usually embraced, as easy as that. When you introduce an item, when you introduce a thing, you don't expect people to, 100% embrace you and say, welcome, welcome. They have to observe from the point of what's this person talking about. I've been doing this for 100 years. Why will you come and teach me what is organic? But with time, the thing is that they need to know the benefits. Once they know the benefits, they will embrace it. Once they know that they can make money out of it. By the way, the cashew are not meant to be consumed locally. Yes, we consume them locally, but it's very, in terms of export, it's very minimal. So once they realize that you are going to get value for your money, they will embrace it. I don't think we are going to have challenge because it's something that once it is demonstrated, you tell them what to do, how to do it, and the benefits therein. I think it will be okay. They will accept it. And already they are accepting it from our interaction, our interface with all those farmers.
Let's take you back to issue of China again.
Okay.
The NEPC has been designated as the clearing agent for the People's Republic of China. What will be the function of the NEPC, and what merited the council for such a position?
Okay. By the way, the NEPC has been designated as what we call the competent authority for the Chinese General Administration of Chinese Custom, GACC. That's what they call it, GACC.
Okay.
NEPC has been designated as competent authority. I must also tell you that another organization has been so designated, but couldn't perform. So they withdrew that and gave it to NEPC. And so far, in less than a month or so, we've actually processed about 34 applications and 11 products. And what that means is that it's a simple thing. It's a platform whereby anybody who wants to export to China will have to register under that platform. And you are expected to meet the import regulation requirements or import requirements of the Chinese People's Republic of China before exporting their products. So NEPC will process that application on your behalf, and once it's okay, we send it to China, and that's all. You can export. That's the whole essence of it. And that is very key for us. And the question is that, why NEPC? I'm sure they've done their due diligence and they realize that we are capable, we can do it, and they are very happy with it because, like I said, it has been seamless now, less than a month when we were 2 months when we were given that responsibility. We'll be able to register about 34 exporters so far.
Dr. Yakusak, when you started this conversation, when I asked you, you said it's been tough.
Yeah.
And we've spent the larger part of this conversation discussing on how seamless the process has been. Tell us, what are your challenges, your bottlenecks?
Funds, money. Because this is our promotion. Everything promotion.
Funds from the entrepreneur or funds for the commission, for the council to help this export sustainable?
Funds from government to sustain non-oil export promotion.
Yeah, that's
everything about promotion, it's money. When you are promoting, it's money. When you put a billboard somewhere, it's money. When you advertise on TV, you are promoting, it's money. So everything about export promotion, it's money.
But there's inflow.
Inflow from where?
Revenue from these exports.
Yes, there's
what
inflow.
Happens to that?
It doesn't come to Nigeria Export Promotion Council.
Okay.
Yes. By the way, we train you, we promote you, we persuade you to export. Once you export, you get 100% of value of what you export. Your profit goes back to you 100%. One kobo doesn't go to Nigeria Export Promotion Council. Ours is for the economy.
So it's return on investment for the entrepreneur.
For the entrepreneur. One kobo doesn't go to
It's good business. I should think of becoming an entrepreneur. One kobo doesn't go to Nigeria Export Promotion Council. And by the way, we charge, by the way, our certificate to issue the certificate to export is only 13,500 naira. 13,500 naira, the certificate to export. That's just it. So what I'm trying to say is that those funds doesn't come to Nigeria Export Promotion Council. We are funded by government. But what we're saying is that we need more funds. If you see what is happening in the, the non-oil export performance right now, I said it was because of the grant that was given, partly it's because of the grant that was given to us in 2021. So imagine if that grant is sustained. You imagine if it's sustained, you will see what will happen. Comfort, you have a final question. Go ahead.
Yeah, my final question to you is Export Trade House in Togo, in Kenya, in Cairo, and in China. Are we expecting more of these trade houses?
Yes, we're expecting more of these trade houses, but the one I'm very sure of now is the one in Dubai. For now, we're working with another private firm in Dubai to open up an export trade house in Dubai. And like I said earlier on, we are very strategic. In our approach, we are very, very strategic. Dubai also, the Middle East. Dubai, the Middle East. Once you get that, you capture that market.
What are we looking to push towards that?
Spices. Dubai, spices, honey, a lot of other products in Dubai. Yes, a lot of other products, even our sesame seed. I mean, everything, even our ginger. We have a lot of products that, that we can push in, Dubai, both raw commodities and, of course, processed goods. Dubai is a hub, you know that very well. And, once you know your way, anything, as long as it's not illegal or prohibited, can be sold in Dubai. Anything can be sold in Dubai, as long as it's not a prohibited item.
Why is the council, just before we wrap up this, why is the council, or is the council rather, looking at IGR, internal generated revenue, to sustain some of its proceedings?
Yes, part of our IGR is just sales of publications, and of course, part of our IGR again is, we have what we call the Export Expansion Grant Fund, this EEG. And so, if you export and you repatriate your proceed, you are entitled to a sum of up to 15% right now, 15% of the value of your export. Government will give you as a grant. And so there's this regulation, regulation that says NDPC will be giving 2% administrative charge on that grant. So that is part of our IGR that we get. And of course, sale of publications, sale of our export certificate, and that's all. Apart from that.
Okay, so we're winding down. And what is your projection for the future of non-oil export in Nigeria? Because this is like this is the next oil, so to say.
The future.
Yeah, the future. This is the future.
I agree with you. This is the future, and what we are doing is that my thinking is that with time, it may not be now, maybe 5 years or 10 years to come, the word non-oil export will be on the lips of every Nigerian. This is why I'm saying this. 2 weeks ago, we met the executive secretary of NUC, that's National University Commission. And we discussed with him what we are trying to do with the NUC is to introduce non-oil export promotion as a course of study in all or most Nigerian universities. Because people don't engage in it, because they don't know it. If you are not exposed, if you are oblivious, if you are ignorant of a thing, you won't appreciate it. That is the truth about it. You will never appreciate it until that thing is exposed to you and you will be able to appreciate exactly what it is. So I'm very sure with some of the programs that is going on now and with our various collaboration, I'm very sure next 5 years, non-oil export will be on the lips on everybody. By the way, we'll soon launch a program called Export 774.
What is that?
Yes, Export 774 is to identify all the exportable products in all the 774 local governments.
In Nigeria now.
In Nigeria. all the, the exportable products in all the 774 local governments of the Federation. And that would be a kind of an export map, or where people will know where to get such exportable products. It will also be an investment guide where anybody wanting to invest in a particular product will know where to go and invest in that particular product. So it will be a kind of a two-edged sword.
Is that a long-term plan?
No, it's this year. No, it's this year.
Okay.
One state, one product.
Okay.
Just identify one state and one product.
Great.
So we are taking it a notch higher to say no, it's no longer, it's going to be one state, one product, but yet, why not identify? Why are you limiting yourself to one state, one product? Why can't you identify all the exportable products in Nigeria? Okay,
Dr. Ezra, let's leave it there. We have to wrap up this conversation. It's been an interesting one, I must say, an eye-opener, and it's good that the council, I don't know why I keep calling you a commission. The council is doing so much, to ensure that Nigeria, made in Nigeria products are seen,
everywhere,
and patronized, not just around the country, but outside the shores of the continent. Thank you so much, and keep up the good work.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Comfort Amadu, our business correspondent, thank you so much for your input. It was nice having you.
Glad to be here. So it's safe to say that non-oil export is going to be like the Nigerian future gold.
Yes, indeed. All right. There you have it. The non-oil sector will be the next Nigeria future gold, but the council is actually looking at making the world a marketplace for Nigeria's non-oil products. There's so much we can harness. We just have to look within. That's Platform. I'm Ruth Aguwele. Bye.